PUBG has just released its new dev roadmap for 2024, and it's absolutely packed with upcoming features and changes, addressing many of the areas of the game that have been most heavily criticized by players over the past few years. We've got major updates on Unreal 5, the Bluechip Recall system, SMG rebalancing, new car collabs, ranked rewards, anti-cheat, and much, much more. Today, I'm going to go through the full roadmap and some key video clips from the Korean dev video they released today and highlight all the major points that you need to know so you don't have to sit there for 24 minutes reading subtitles and taking notes like I did. I'll put links to the source material down below if you want to take a look yourself, and don't forget to drop a like and sub if you enjoy the video. So first up, we have Destructible Map Environment. So we've had a little bit of this in the past in PUBG with Karakin, for instance, where buildings can get destroyed by the black zone, or there's certain walls that you can blow up using sticky bombs. But now we're showing some video clips of a player actually digging a hole using a pickaxe. It's just a small hole. I don't know how far you're going to be able to dig, but there's a video of a player digging a hole using a pickaxe to make a little foxhole, a little bit of cover. And then also someone firing a panzer. You can just about see that that's leaving a small crater behind where it hits the ground. So the idea that explosives could make craters, that you might be able to destroy certain parts of buildings, sounds interesting. They do mention the idea of breaking a door and throwing a grenade through, which is kind of something you can already do. But so I assume they've changed something in the way that maybe doors can be destroyed. Maybe all doors can now be destroyed instead of just wooden ones, or destroyed in a different way. But certainly some very interesting looking changes here with some nice video clips accompanying them. They also mention that this is going to be coming in the April update. So pretty soon, just next month, we got one update coming later this week. And then this stuff we are going to start to see some of next month. They don't specify whether this is going to be on all maps or just one map. Hopefully it's going to be the same across all maps, but PUBG do have a tendency to do map specific changes. They then briefly mentioned some world changes on Erangel. This is really just the 7th anniversary. It's PUBG's 7th birthday. They've got like an anniversary edition of Erangel, presumably going to be temporary. It's got some different themed stuff on it for that birthday, so you're going to see different items around that look kind of rebranded. Looks like there's some energy drinks that looked a bit different with some special skins on. There's some buildings shown that look a bit different. So just some temporary decoration and stuff onto Erangel to celebrate PUBG's 7th birthday. The next big section is gunplay. There's quite a lot to digest here. First of all, they talk about the fact that there's a major SMG rebalance coming in, and then also the fact that we are now not going to have a test server. We're just going to have stuff tested on the live server, but within sort of test environments. So for the SMG rebalance, what this means is we're going to be able to test the SMG rebalance on the live server, but within an arcade room. So the rebalance changes won't immediately go live onto the full game. They're going to go to be available to play in this special arcade mode. You can go and test them out. They'll then take feedback, hopefully, and implement those changes to the full game at a later date. Rather than having the test server, they mentioned that it was kind of restricted. There's a bit of a barrier to entry on, going and downloading the test server and playing it, so not many people would do that. Whereas if you have something in the main game, then the hope is that more people will actually try it out and they'll get better feedback on that. So that's how that's going to work. We are going to see that SMG rebalance come in 28.2, which is the update coming this week, so very, very soon. They mentioned they want to do gunplay and weapon balance updates every 2 months. And they also specifically mention that there's some upcoming buffs to the Scar L and the AKM, two pretty underused guns, as well as nerfs to powerful weapons as requested. It doesn't specify what those are going to be, but overperforming weapons are likely to see some nerfs coming in. Next up, we have the Win Streak Showdown, a new system you can use to sort of compete with enemy teams for extra glory and points and reward kind of in the main game of PUBG. So they describe it as a system where your team and an opposing team enter a match together and compete for points through kills and rankings. So I assume it means literally you're in the same game together, and then whichever team performs the best in that game based on your kills and your ranking will earn certain points and unlock certain things. Also, the team that wins that can then go on, and if they continue getting wins in a row, then they'll earn more things by building their win streak. So kind of like an extra optional thing. It says it's not, you don't have to do it, but it's the thing you can choose to do if you want to add another layer of investment, of excitement to PUBG, which might be something that's of interest to, higher performing teams that maybe just find it a bit of a walk in the park sometimes to win loads of games when they're playing in squads. This is maybe something they can use to add a little bit extra tension to that if you've got something else you're trying to achieve, something else you're trying to unlock. Next up, they talk about survival items, character actions, action-orientated features. So what they mean by this is stuff like emergency pickup, like picking up your teammates, putting them in cars, the new co-op climb mechanic, mantling onto vehicles and stuff like that. They want to add more things like that. They talk about the idea of implementing a zipline that is portable and show a video clip of them firing a zipline through a window and going up through that window. They say they're just considering that. That's not a definite thing to be added. It looks pretty early in dev from the clip we're shown in the video, but that's just something they mention. They do say their focus is on doing this kind of stuff to improve mobility and looting for survival, and specifically say they don't want to affect combat directly too much. It's more stuff focused on those other things. They also say items like the repair kit, the mechanics toolbox, are going to be available as world spawn items. So it looks like we're going to see kind of the return of some of the tactical gear items, but back as world spawn items like they used to be before we had the sort of box that you picked at the beginning of the game for a short period. Next up, we're on to collaborations and skins. So they talk about progressives, and they also talk about the car collaborations that we've had in the past and some upcoming ones. We had McLaren and Aston Martin over the last couple of years. They said they were very successful and popular, and they've got 2 more big branded vehicle collaborations coming this year, and they show some clips of some different vehicles. One of them is very obviously a Lamborghini. The other ones, I don't really know. There's a bike, maybe it's Ducati, I'm not really sure. I'm sure there's some car and bike nerds out there who can probably identify these immediately in the comments and let us know. But 2 new ones coming this year. One of them is going to be Lambo, and we'll see what the other one is once I've read the comments. They also talk about the progressive system, the popularity of it and success of it. They mention the idea of doing another big black market event this year that's going to make old progressive skins available for a short period again for players. They said players really enjoyed that, so you might be able to get your hands on some older progressive skins that haven't been available for a while. They also mentioned they want to do diverse styles across different weapons. They say this will be gradual, but we should hopefully expect to see progressive skins going onto guns that we maybe haven't seen progressives available for. Next, they talk about the matchmaking system. They mention how matchmaking is affected by various factors. They mention connection stability and ping, matchmaking time, language / region, and player skill, your sort of MMR. They say they want to make sure that the matchmaking system is enhanced to facilitate skill-based matchmaking. It's something they want to focus on, using your MMR, your matchmaking rating, to try and group players of similar skill levels together when they play in normal games, not just in ranked, but in normal games as well. How different this will be to what we have already is a little bit unclear. We also have lots of regions where, matchmaking is quite slow. For instance, like console solo games can be pretty slow these days, certainly in EU. I know there's lots of other regions that have very slow queues, and so for slow queues, you can't really see skill-based matchmaking really working because the queues are just going to get slower. But maybe for the busier queues, this might be something you actually start to see a little bit of effects on having better squads teamed up with better squads and newer players kind of grouped together as well. They also mention in the video they're planning to explore possible solutions and take feedback on regions where matchmaking does not work so well. So players who play in regions where matchmaking is very, very slow, completely full of bots, stuff like that, looks like they are going to start to try and come up with solutions to help you there. They don't say what that's going to be, but hopefully we might see some improvement to help players who play in regions where matchmaking is really tough. They briefly mentioned map rotation and talking about regional map rotation or differences in map rotation for regions. I don't think this is really a new thing. This is something they've been doing for years. I don't know if they're going to break this down further, but certainly for a long time we've had the kind of Western map rotation and the Asian map rotation, or they call it, I think, the map selection group, which tends to, I think, mostly be Asia. And then NA-EU is the sort of random map pool. I don't know if they're going to break that down further, but they say they think that's working and they're going to stick with doing that, which in fairness I think it probably does. You're not going to please everyone all the time, but it's taking feedback on a regional basis and giving matchmaking pools based on that is probably the fairest way of dividing up the massive amount of maps we now have in PUBG. They talk about bot refinement in this video. They want to try and make bots a bit better. They talk about using AI to make them act a bit more naturally, a bit more like players, throwing smoke grenades and leaning and zigzagging to dodge shots and all this kind of stuff. Conversely, they also mentioned they don't want to make them too challenging. They're not going to make bots like superhuman Terminator kill machines that are going to wreck new players, but they want to make them feel like they fit into the battle a bit more naturally, which will be interesting to see. I don't know how I feel about that, but I guess if you don't notice as much that you're fighting bots, maybe that's less of a negative player experience. They do say those updates are focused on quality over speed, so that's kind of a way of saying that it might be a little while till we see those changes. We got a load of changes upcoming for ranked, including changes to how the RP points are going to work and also changes to ranked rewards. As well as that, they mentioned Rondo is going to join the map pool in April. Rondo is going to be hitting ranked, and then they want to add it to esports later in the year. They also say that they want to strengthen the linkage between normal, ranked, and esports, which is something they've said quite a lot over the last couple of years. Nothing really new there. For ranked rewards, they say they're going to provide rewards for each tier. Additional bonuses can be earned just by playing, and they also show some cool looking AWM skins that look different depending on what ranked tier you got. So hopefully you might finally see some cool gun skins that you get for achieving certain things in ranked. We also have significant changes to the RP calculations coming into play, and they're going to be much more driven by kills. So that might seem a little bit fairer to you if you have high kill games. That will help balance out if you maybe don't get a win, or if you're really high up the leaderboards, those high kill games will help sustain or build your RP level rather than seeing it drop because you got like a 15 kill second place, but you're already master. These changes are going to be coming in April as well. It does say piloting, so they might change them based on feedback, but we will see these RP changes made in the April update next month. There's then kind of a vague statement in the document talking about they want to heighten the satisfaction of ranked play. Major content is scheduled for release in June, excluding the RP system, which they already said was being released in April, or at least trialed in April. So a bit weird there, maybe a translation thing, but we are going to see some other features in June in ranked, and we're going to see these RP changes trialed in April, and we're going to see Rondo in April as well. So a lot going on in ranked on PUBG. They talk about the test server here. We've already kind of covered that. It's just what I said earlier. No test server this year, and there's going to be in-game areas where you'll be able to test out stuff. That's not just going to be the SMG stuff. There may be other places where you can test out other new features. Initially, the first way we're going to see that is going to be this SMG test in arcade mode. There's a really important part of the dev roadmap that isn't mentioned at all in the video, weirdly. I don't know if they forgot to edit it in or just put it in a tool or it was last minute, but in the document, they actually say the recall system is going to be implemented across all 8x8 maps. Comeback BRs will be removed. So one of the biggest changes that I've seen asked for from all PUBG players is just unifying the comeback across all maps. It's so messy and convoluted at the moment. We have the recall system, we have comeback BR Vikendi style, we have comeback BR Tego style, we have maps with no comeback, and even the recall system is kind of a bit different on Rondo to how it works with other maps in terms of how the Bluechip towers work with their spawning. So it's very confusing. New players must have absolutely no idea what's going on. So great to see some unity here. It's a really asked for change, and I think a lot of people are going to be very happy about that. It does say 8x8 maps, so that means we're not going to see it on Sanhok or Karakin or Paramo for the time being. I'd like to see it on Sanhok personally. The smaller ones, whatever, I don't really care too much about. But certainly a very positive change that we can at least have the same system across all 8x8 maps. Hopefully they'll also make some other changes to it. I think it'd be nice to see you drop back in a little quicker from the recall system, maybe a plane that comes over once every minute, something like that. But certainly very positive to see this new feature added. It's very frustrating if you've got a game on Tego or Vikendi and you die 10 minutes in, then your game's just over. So now you're going to be able to bring teammates back after that period. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy that. We've got some clan improvements and changes coming up. They talk about collective goals, individual goals, and rewards for these, as well as a thing called the Clan Exchange, which provides rewards based on how active clans have been, as well as giving special rewards such as exclusive tags. So sounds like they're paying a bit of attention to the clan system again, which is great. I felt like it had been ignored for quite a while. Hopefully we'll see some other changes in terms of this data and stats that you can view about your clan and your clan members and the points they've achieved and that kind of thing. Particularly if there's rewards for clan activity, it'd be nice if there's a way that you can actually monitor individual players' clan activity and progress as a clan leader, so you can, you know, judge whether people have been playing or not playing and or how many games they play with other clan members and stuff like that. They do say there's a variety of clan-centric content planned for this year, so sounds very positive. Once again, certainly one of the other big things that I've been talking about over the last 12 months, I've been talking about wanting Bluechip Recall rolled out across all the maps and talking about improving the clan system. So two of my biggest annoying things in PUBG sound like they are hopefully being addressed. Another quick thing that isn't mentioned in the document but is in the video is that the PvE mode Survivors Left Behind, which was the recent Halloween game mode they did at the end of last year, that is going to come back into the game, and they also say they're going to improve it and provide regular updates for it. It looks like it's going to be implemented in the same way they have Intense Battle Royale and Arcade mode. So they want it to be permanently available, and they're going to keep updating and changing it. So that sounds cool. I think it was one of the best gimmicky temporary game modes they did, so nice to see what they can do with that. They also mentioned that Fantasy BR mode is going to make a comeback this year. I'm not sure if that'll just be temporary. Presumably it will be, but we'll hopefully see that with some changes again. Again, that's one of the most fun temporary game modes I think we've seen in PUBG. I really enjoy Fantasy BR, so hopefully we'll get to play that for a week or two at some point this year. One of the biggest and most important things they talk about in this right at the end of the video and right at the end of the document is content expansion for the future. This is Unreal Engine 5 and this is UGC, user-generated content. Two very interesting things. They don't really say very much about UGC, but they do say they want to implement a user-generated content mod to provide an environment where you can create your own world. So I presume this is like a world editor in some way. I don't know if this is just for editing rules or if they mean literally so people can go away with modding tools and, you know, make their own map or their own mini game within PUBG. Not really sure. It's not very clear, but certainly sounds very, very interesting. If there's mod support, modding tools being made available to modders for PUBG, then that's very, very exciting. And what's also exciting is Unreal 5. They are planning to migrate to Unreal 5. When we last talked about Unreal 5 from PUBG, they said they were considering sort of trialing it a bit and doing internal testing. It sounded a bit vague. Maybe they were going to do it, try it on one map, that kind of thing. Now they've committed and said they are going to upgrade to Unreal 5, which is great. We should see significant visual upgrades. There's no date given for this, but it is something they're going to do. So hopefully we'll see that this year. It's in the 2024 roadmap. I mean, these are all just words. Who knows what they're actually going to deliver, but it certainly sounds very, very promising. And Unreal 5, again, one of the biggest things that I think many, many PUBG players would like to see PUBG implement. The last section of the video and document is pretty long and it's all about anti-cheat. I'm not going to go through it in tons of detail. They do mention that they banned 3.2 million accounts last year compared to 2.4 million accounts in the previous year. It's hard to judge how valuable those stats are because you don't know how many people were trying to cheat and how many players were playing the game at any one time and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, they banned a lot more players than they did the year before. Is it necessarily a bad thing? The problem with talking about anti-cheat is they can't talk about stuff in too specific detail because the more detail they give, the more that helps the cheaters with trying to counter those countermeasures. So they just sort of talk about stuff in generalities like trying to counter ESP and people trying to bypass hardware bans using deep learning and AI to try and counter stuff. And they also do specifically mention stuff about console, which is great to see. They say addressing concerns regarding keyboard and mouse usage. They're taking a dual approach of data analysis and technological exploration to devise effective detection mechanisms. So they are actively doing more to try and counter the use of keyboard and mouse on console and hopefully other, hardware cheating situations on console too. They also mention in the video, they say temporary bans are not triggered just by in-game reports. They wanted to clarify that, but reports can influence bans and in some cases directly trigger them. I guess if that highlights some other evidence they have that might cause a ban, it's a little bit of a kind of conflicting statement there. They then go on to say they're going to remove player reports from the criteria for temporary bans and replace it with more deep learning stuff. So there's less potential for abuse of reports causing incorrect temporary bans. Maybe if you're just a really good player and people get salty and report you, then there's should be less chance of you picking up a undeserved ban for that. So that is everything in the 2024 dev roadmaps. Absolutely packed full of stuff. I'm very excited by it. Like I said, for me, it highlights some really, really critical stuff in there and stuff that's critical to all sorts of PUBG players as well. We've got the Bluechip Recall system being improved. We've got an SMG rebalance. We've got the clan system being improved. We've got ranked rewards. We've got Unreal 5, we've got UGC, we've got a massive load of stuff on Anticheat. So these are all the biggest talking points from everyone in the PUBG community really over the past year or so. And it's great to see PUBG addressing them so directly. As I mentioned earlier, this is all just, talk until we actually see these things implemented. But very, very positive statement of intent from PUBG, from Crafton so far. So hats off to them for that. Very positive way to start the week. And we get our first update post Dev Roadmap on March 13th this week. So we can test it out on PC. And hopefully we'll get that a week later on console. So thanks very much for watching today. I hope you found it interesting. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this Dev Roadmap. I'd be interested to hear if there's anything major you think got missed out from this. Certainly they've covered a whole lot of stuff, so I can't think of too much. And if you want to come and have a chat about this in a live environment, I'm going to be streaming PUBG this afternoon, and I normally stream it on YouTube and Twitch every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. So come along to the live stream and we can all have a good chat about it there and do a bit of back and forth. So nice. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to click like and subscribe. My name's Ben. We are the Beard Guys, and I'll see you next time.